Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm in the vegetable garden right now and I'm dealing with a very common issue. So this is my blueberry bed, blueberry, strawberries, and basil. And my blueberry bushes have this going on. So this is chlorosis, and this is acid-loving plants like blueberries. You might be seeing this on your hydrangeas right now, rhododendrons, azaleas. They like high acidity, so I don't have high acidity, which is why I have to treat my soil to lower the pH, because my pH typically runs around 7.4. The sweet spot for blueberries is about 4.5 to 5.5, and if you want to look at previous videos I shot regarding the different types of blueberries in this bed and the strawberries, I'll link to that below. But this is chlorosis, specifically iron chlorosis, and you'll see it on the fresh new growth on your hydrangeas and the blueberries. And this is your plant's way of telling you that it can't access iron. So the iron is what greens up your plant, which is why you have the yellowing tissue and the green veining. In worse situations, these can go completely yellow and maybe they'll start crisping up and dying. So we don't want that to happen. And this is relatively early in the process. So the fix to that is simply by lowering the soil pH. So for that, I'm going to use, hold on a sec. And for that, I use the True Organic Soil Acidifier, and I applied this before I planted the bushes, worked it into the soil, and then I actually just did it. I worked it into the drip line around every single plant. So what this does is makes the iron that's in the soil accessible to the plant, because when your pH gets too high, iron is no longer accessible, and the plant lets you know that by doing this. So the fix is the acidifying the soil, and I do this a couple times a year at planting time, at the beginning of the season, and then when it starts to happen. So I'll do this with my hydrangeas as well, and then I just make sure it goes around the drip line, which is the outermost portion of each plant where the water or rain would hit that, hit those leaves and drip down. Those are where the feeder roots are and where all of those nutrients will be taken in, and that should make the iron accessible to the plant, and then this problem will go away. Now the other issue too is if you have hard water. I have hard water, so when I'm watering my plants, I'm contributing more alkalinity, more minerals to the soil, which doesn't help the situation any. So what's nice about growing acidic, acid-loving plants in raised beds is you can control the soil pH a little easier. So that being said, I had a really wonderful harvest. I harvested all of my carrots the other day, and it was so much fun to watch them develop. I love when the swallowtail butterflies lay their eggs in there, and then I had tons of caterpillars this year, lots of butterflies in the garden, which is really a treat. Let me show you what's happening with my fruit snacks, apple trees as well. This is where I took the carrots out yesterday, and now I've got some space to sow some summer lettuce. My jalapenos are just starting to come on. But look at over here, you guys. This is a sample that was sent to me from Burpee. This is a pumpkin called Patch for Kids. Look at all the gorgeous flowers in here. This is massive. It's gonna just eat the entire vegetable garden. Look at that. Kind of fun. But the borage is looking gorgeous, and I love the combination of the borage that brings the pollinators in, so then we start having pollination on the pumpkins. And if you're not sure about that pollination process, I have a lot of male flowers here, and the way to tell that is there's no fruit at the base of these plants. These are the males. Let me find a female here. The females will have a tiny little fruit, and if it gets pollinated, then you're gonna end up with pumpkins. So let's see, do we have any females here? Any ladies in the building? Well, not yet. Okay, so we have all male flowers, no females yet. Those will happen, but that is Patch for Kids pumpkin from Burpee. And then these are my fruit snacks. This is the tangy green here, which really looked questionable when I received it, and it's finally seems to have taken hold. Got some more borage in here. And then this is the all red. I had some issues with the all red. The central leader on the all red died back. So what I did was to make sure that it maintains its shape, because if it loses its central leader, that's with all trees, if the central leader is lost on a tree, the tree will start to lose their shape. They will not keep that tight growth habit or the growth habit that they're supposed to have if the central leader is gone. The central leader is the tallest branch on the tree. So this went up here. So it completely died, so I cut it back to a nub, and then I'm training another branch to become the central leader. So I'm using some Velcro garden tape here. By the way, is a great product. I've used that for years. So And then I'm just retraining it. So now I've got, this one is going to hopefully become the central leader, and the shape of the tree will not be lost. So those are my fruit snacks trees, and the pumpkin that is going for total domination. Look at that. Now I want to take you into the side yard garden, because there is a perennial over there that is blowing my mind. It was sent to me as a sample last year, and I gave you a brief glimpse of it last week when I took you for the tour of the garden. And last night I was walking through and I could not believe the flowering on it. So let me flip it around and show you. So last week when we did a walkabout here in the side yard garden, I showed you this guy here, and there were just a few blossoms open on it. Well, things have certainly changed. Look at this. This is from the Totally Stoked series from Proven Winners. This is a Stokes aster called Riptide. But look at that, and so pollinator friendly, you guys. And I was amazed by it last summer because it was a very small plant that just flowered and flowered and flowered. And so I'm always kind of hesitant with new plants, like, what's it going to do? Is it going to come back next year? I'm very careful about raving too much about it, but so far so good. I mean, this is the first full year in the garden. I've got some blushed, what is that called? First blush Heliopsis. I'm forgetting the names of these guys, I'm sorry. So this is Touch of Blush. This is Touch of Blush Heliopsis here. And then a coneflower, and I'm forgetting the name of this coneflower too. I don't know that I have it marked even. Nice combination. And then some Puppy Love Pennisetum. But I just had to show you that Stokes aster. Gorgeous. Now, the one thing I've not done much of in the garden this year is deadheading, and that's crucial to keeping the flowers coming, keeping the garden looking interesting for as long as possible. If you don't deadhead, and what that simply means is you're cutting back the plant, getting rid of the spent flowers, so that you're telling the plant that instead of producing seed, you want it to put its energy into producing more flowers, and that's what we want for as long as possible. So this here is a Spirea, double play doozy. It's my favorite Spirea. I typically don't care for that plant. This one's a winner though. It's got beautiful fresh growth on it, like a deep burgundy color, and gorgeous flower heads, which I could leave it like that, but what's the point if I know that cutting it back is going to trigger more flowering and more beautiful red foliage? I'm down for that. So I need to get in here and cut it back. I'm going to cut it back kind of hard and shape it properly so that it grows in a way that I like. And then I'm going to go through, I've got salvias and I've got rudbeckia and I've got all kinds of things that need some tending to get it flushing again and getting it colorful, and just to keep those flowers coming and keep things looking beautiful for as long as possible. So I'm going to get after this Spirea first. The Spirea is looking a lot better, and then I took back the blue salvia back here, and it looks like I mangled it, but you'll be surprised how well they grow back. They'll be nice and full, and then I'll have pollinators here with it again. And I wish I could remember the name of this phlox. It smells so good. Look how pretty that is, you guys. I also want to point out to you this hydrangea here. This is a panicle hydrangea and looks nice and happy. The new growth is looking beautifully green. And then I treated this, and you can see some of the soil acidifier in this, and maybe you can't, but anyway, I treated it when it first started showing signs of chlorosis. So deeper in the plant, you can see some of those leaves, and they're starting to green up again. But the new growth is green, which means the soil acidifier is working. And you just have to keep an eye on it. That's pretty typical of alkaline soils. I certainly have that. And you just got to get in there and give it what it needs to kind of turn things around. And it takes time. When you use organic methods, it takes a little longer for those things to take effect. But eventually they do, and you end up with a happy plant again. In this area here, something just dawned on me that I really like. So I have a bunch of Flowerfull hydrangeas from First Edition Shrubs and Trees. It's a hydrangea arborescens, so a nativar. Oh my gosh, I wish you could see this beautiful dragonfly on one of the poppies. I'm easily distracted. But they were struggling. They've been in containers. They were sent to me from First Editions last year. Didn't get a chance to get them in the ground, so I overwintered them in my raised beds and then moved them back to the cans. And I was going to plant them, and then my knee went out on me. So last night I was pulling them out and giving them a drink. And then I put this one over here. He was really struggling. And then it occurred to me that I really like this here. So I'm thinking I'm going to plant one of the Flowerfulls right here. I've got my Scarlet O'Hara peony here, and then there's an oak leaf hydrangea on the other side of that. So I thought maybe this is where one of mine will go. I have 5. So the beauty of the Flowerfull hydrangea is it's a vast improvement on the Annabelles. I love the Annabelles, very old hydrangea, but they're known to be extremely floppy, and when it rains and the rain hits those big mop head flowers, you can forget about it. They're laying down and you've got to tie them up. It's more work. And they're beautiful. They always look gorgeous, but they're just more work. So if you can give me a plant that has the same effect, giant flower heads, very strong stems, and doesn't flop, and I don't have to do the work, well then I'm all in. So the Flowerfulls are hardy to zone 3. I'll put that on the screen. I think it's 3, maybe 4. But very strong stems, beautiful flowers. This is not the best example. This was struggling last night, really dried out, but let me grab one of them. I've got several of them. This is Flowerfull here. Isn't that gorgeous, you guys? Oh my goodness. So I am going to move a few of these over to the other side of the garden where I'm just going to plop them in place. I'm not going to plant them. I'm going to leave them in the cans and kind of arrange them around an arborvitae because I think I might like several of them skirting the arborvitae. But before I plant, I always like to lay things out, sit with it for a little while, decide if I like it, and then move things around if I don't. All right, so let's take some things over there. I think that'll be lovely. So I'm just going to leave them in the cans, kind of sit with it for a while, let it marinate. I do that with everything before I plant. And I've always wanted to skirt this tree. This is the arborvitae, one of the first arborvitaes first things I planted, specifically so that I could see it from the dining room window, put the Christmas tree lights on it, the whole thing. But I always wanted to skirt beneath it because I feel like it looks so naked without something there to anchor it. So I think the Flowerfulls would be perfect for that. And I've got 3 of them. Flowerfull gets to be about 3 to 4 feet tall, about 4 to 5 feet wide. And I think that that is a perfect skirt. And I'm going to leave them there, and then I'm also going to come in. I like to use old extension cords or hoses to get the shape of the beds, and I'll just keep messing with this. And I've wanted to widen this because I've wanted to make it feel a little bit more enclosed in here, like a little more privacy. And so just using this as my visual to get the nice curvature of the bed coming around. And I will tweak this. My husband's going to look at it and go, oh, we're removing more grass. Although now I think he doesn't mind so much because it's less for him to have to cut. But I think that would be really pretty. Yeah, so I'll just let it marinate for a while and then dig these in. I'm almost certain these are going to go here. I've got some GM to move. I've got some Veronica to cut back, some White Wands Veronica. And yeah, I think a grass would be nice back there, but now I'm visualizing all this stuff that I want to do. So anyway, that's it for today. Check out those Flowerfulls. I'll link to all of that below. And thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one, guys. See ya.